Hello and welcome back to the Cascade subdivision. Today we are going to talk about some of the progress I made the past month, and as I mentioned in the title of the video, I'm going to talk about what's next and what lies ahead in the future for both the layout and my modeling. More on that at the end, but a quick reminder, if this is your first time watching, or one of your first times and you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. A lot more content coming your way, model railroading related, and a little bit of rail fanning, I hope, but more on that later. So if you remember, in my last update, I had started working on some of the terrain forms around the layout, specifically down over here in the sawmill area, and here at the top of the Helix in Wikipy, I have finished the cardboard strips, the cardboard lattice for the terrain here, and then this tunnel portal is just a piece of foam board, whatever that is called, spray painted with black and gray just as a placeholder. The tunnel liners are in place and the ballast is in place, of course. So that is very exciting to have scenery started on the top of the Helix, and I really like this area because it's right at eye level, or at least my eye level, and the scenes are pretty shallow but pretty in your face. So it's a great place to watch trains, and excited to have started fleshing this out. Let's move our way to the other side of the Helix and take a look at what that looks like. Here we are at the entrance to the Helix, coming out of the sawmill area and over Salmon Creek, and I like this shot here because you can see the Helix behind the cardboard lattice. Soon enough this will be covered up and all of this will disappear. But I wasn't sure how I was going to transition into the Helix or between the levels, if it was just going to be kind of a clean break. But the way the scenery over here, and the way that the layout structure, I should say, allows for the scenery to kind of transition into each other. So that scene, or this scene, is progressing like others around the layout, but it's very nice to have some structure in so I can better visualize how that transition is going to go, and more to come on this in the future as well. And here is the big update of the, I guess it's month. All of the dirt and ballast, or I should say all of the dirt and some of the ballast and second layer of dirt has begun in Oak Ridge. And so I finally completed this back hill, which connects the Oak Ridge neighborhood scene that I was working on a couple of springs ago, almost a year and a half ago, and finally finished this back ridge and connected it into Oak Ridge. So this is all cardboard lattice, which I think I had talked about last time. Sculpt a mold along the back edge and in the yard just to help smooth things out. And then I come in with paint and then zip texturing. So this is all colored plaster all along the back that's been secured with water. And then you can tell here, kind of along the edge, I have started some of the dirt and ballast work in the yard. So let's zoom in a little bit and take a look at that. Okay, so here we are taking a closer look at some of the dirt and ballast work that I've got going on in Oak Ridge. And I think the initial impression, and my initial impression as well, is there's a lot going on in terms of colors, in terms of different textures. And for right now, that is totally okay. I'm going to come back later with some paints and powders and blend this all together and finalize the coloring. But really in these initial layers, I'm trying to set in and block in some of the major colors that I want to see. And so I've got yard mix ballast along here, as well as I've continued using some of the mainline ballast in different places just to have some continuity. I've got three different colors of dirt that I've been working in along here, all pretty fine powders. And then I also have a coarser dirt, which is some of this lighter tan color that you can see in there, and especially well along the edge here. And so all that is just a base for further work. As you can tell, I have some areas along here where there's still a lot more ballast and dirt to go. It was kind of fun the past week or so. Whenever I had time, I'd come down and do a section of track, or this middle area here. And yeah, it's just a really good way to make progress, and after a few nights in a row, it really adds up to something. So I would encourage that. If you are struggling to get progress done on the layout, just do small things, a short piece of track, or this area here, just work down the ballast and some of the rock work, or dirt work, excuse me. And it's a really great way to get things done. And also out of camera, I finished the ballast, or connecting the ballast all the way over to where I had stopped about a year ago. And finally, big progress over here on the other side of tunnel 22, started putting in grass and vegetation. So the initial layer was sill floor grass, a few different colors and texture, or colors and lengths, just kind of blended together in the hopper of the static grass applicator. That's all secured with glue. And then I came back in with grass tufts, which you can see some there, and some Martin Welberg bushes, and then these bushes here that kind of represent blackberry or other growth and viney growth. Those are actually polyfiber. I secure those in place with extra hold hairspray, and then put another layer of hairspray, and then I've sprinkled some super leaf material from Scenic Express on top of there. And that's a really good way to replicate some more complex vegetation very quickly. Obviously a lot more to go here. This went a lot faster than on the other side of the tunnel, obviously because I had some of my techniques down. But it feels good to have scenery continue to move, and it's just going to be a lot of work to complete the rest of it, but if that ever happens. But definitely very rewarding to have even these little sections done of scenery. Let me get another view for you so you can kind of see some of that detail. And here's a little bit different view. You can see some of the detail on this side of the tunnel and on the far side as well. All right, and the last thing to talk about is what is next for the Cascade Sub. As I have alluded to throughout the video, this will be the last update for quite some time. Probably most realistic time frame for me being able to get back to the layout is sometime around New Year's. I am starting a new chapter in my life, heading out to the West Coast to begin graduate studies, so I'm very much looking forward to that. However, quite disappointed to be spending a significant amount of time away from the layout, and as the days pass, less and less time will be spent down here. That, however, has not stopped progress and has not stopped my motivation to keep working on the Cascade Sub. There's a lot more projects that I want to get done on this layout, and projects that can be used on a future layout in the second version of the Cascade Sub. A lot of different skills to learn. I want to get a little bit into scratch building, continuing to master and grow in my weathering abilities and some of the different skills and techniques there, as well as scenery. A lot of different things I want to try. So a lot that can be done and learned away from the layout, and hopefully when I'm home I will have time and the ability to get down here and run trains, as well as continue to work on some of these projects. So not all is lost. The layout is not coming down right now. It will at some point in the future. That's an inevitable. But for now it lives on, albeit in an incomplete state, but there will definitely be more videos from me in the meantime, and more videos in the future from the Cascade Sub. That being said, a lot of my focus is going to move towards weathering, as well as scratch building and smaller projects, but mainly weathering. I really enjoy weathering quite a bit, both locomotives and freight cars, and enjoy sharing that work with others. And so I will post a link to my eBay page down below, and if you're interested in any of the cars that I put up every couple of months, I have a few cars up for sale. Feel free to check that out periodically, and if you have cars that you would like to be weathered, feel free to contact me through my Facebook page, which I will also post a link to in the description of the video. I'm working on a few locomotives for a gentleman right now, and would be willing to take on any sort of projects, buildings, bridges, and of course locomotives and freight cars. So check that out. Stay tuned to the Facebook page. I will post probably the most progress there, and then occasionally we'll do some videos, hopefully on some of the projects that I work on away from the layout, and eventually getting back down here to the layout. Thanks everyone. It's been an awesome summer. Super excited about the progress that was done down here. Very excited about where the layout is at, and excited for more. So again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're a first-time viewer, feel free to subscribe to the channel for more to come. Happy modeling.